Hello, everybody. So, thanks for listening. So, if you didn't know, you'll know that rapper Tekashi 69 was released early from prison due to coronavirus. Additionally, these other famous people want to also be released due to the coronavirus. Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, and other celebs want out too. And I'm sure Joe Exotic wants out. Um, So anyway, it goes on to say this is by Maria Puente that while most everyone in America is sheltering in place in fear of the coronavirus or COVID-19, celebrities behind bars such as Bill Cosby and R. Kelly are pressing to be released from lockups where they fear that this killer virus is raging or soon will be. And so on Wednesday, the 23-year-old Brooklyn rapper Takeshi 69, real name Daniel Hernandez, who suffers from asthma and once was hospitalized for bronchitis, was released from the federal prison to serve the remaining 4 months of his 2-year racketeering sentence in home confinement, according to Nicholas Bassey, spokesman for the U.S. Attorney Office for the Southern District of New York. And so this government did not oppose counsel's motion for compassionate release because the defendant's medical condition placed him in a high-risk situation during the coronavirus or COVID-19 outbreak. So BAC or Abiase said in a statement emailed USA Today, Don Florio, one of his lawyers, confirmed his release to USA Today and said that the rapper and his legal team were super excited and ecstatic about this news. So last week, the New York judge who sentenced Tekashi 69, Daniel Hernandez, said that he would have ordered home confinement instead if he had known about the coronavirus in December. And so other judges have either turned down celebrities or not yet ruled whether or not that they can do home confinement or other options. So prosecutors are opposed according to their objections registered in court documents. So movie mogul turned convict sex offender Harvey Weinstein, 68, is believed to be the most famous celebrity inmate who has now tested positive for the virus COVID-19 thus far. He has been in isolation in the New York State prison and is said to be recovering, but the number of prisoners and guards testing positive in the close confines of the prison and jails is rising, leading to the ACLU to call on prison authorities to ensure that people inside are safe, especially the more than 10,000 elderly and federal inmates and those in chronic poor health. So in California on Tuesday, lawyers, the Governor Gavin Newsom said that the state will be granting early releases to 3,500 inmates in its 35 prisons in an effort to reduce the crowding as coronavirus infections began to spread. So earlier, U.S. Attorney General William Barr directed federal prison authorities to begin identifying more elderly and medically compromised inmates for home confinement instead of prison confinement to avoid a larger outbreak in the prisons with COVID-19 instead of the agency's 122 institutions housing a total of nearly 250,000 inmates. So this right here is Weinstein right here, who has now tested positive for COVID-19. He's said to be recovering, but the basics on COVID-19, you can read about it, what you need to know as the U.S. becomes the new epicenter of the COVID-19. Meanwhile, the list of famous people convicted, accused of crimes who fear COVID-19 more in prison than outside is growing. Cosby, which is Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, President Donald Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, Trump's ex-legal tormentor, lawyer Michael Avenatti, and those now detained cannot be protected from the coming jail epidemic, and if infected, will without question suffer from inferior health, argues Steve Greenberg, lead lawyer for R. Kelly, 53 years of age, who is awaiting 4 trials in federal and state courts in the 3 states. And so he wants out of the federal jail in Chicago, where he has been held since July on multiple sex crime charges. So R. Kelly's Greenberg points out is innocent unless proven guilty, but given the state of the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago and the alleged lack of hand sanitizer and soap, Kelly feels that his health and possibly his life are at risk. So plus the virus could interfere with his meeting with his lawyers. And so requiring people to reside in custodial jail settings is tantamount to making them drink poison. So Greenberg argued in a motion last week in the Illinois federal case against Kelly. So federal prosecutors in the Eastern District of New York, who also have a case against R. Kelly, argued in court papers against releasing R. Kelly, saying his fears are unfounded. The jails are properly prepared against the virus, and he has sufficient access to soap and cleaning supplies, and he remains a flight risk. And so this is Bill Cosby right here. A jail is the antithesis of a safe environment. It is closely confined and heavily populated, largely by those who have little respect for others, Greenberg argued in a new court filing on the matter Tuesday. Meals are served in crammed day rooms. Social distancing is impossible, so to suggest that the jail is a safe environment against the disease is foolish as well as baseless. Cosby, who is now 82 years of age, blind and frail, is not ill, nor has he tested positive for the coronavirus. According to his spokesman, Andrew Wyatt, Cosby has been in Pennsylvania prison, SCI Phoenix near Philadelphia since September of 2018 after being convicted of 3 sex crimes, and Cosby fears contracting the COVID-19 from other inmates who escort him around the prison in his wheelchair or from guards who might be bringing the illness from outside, Wyatt said. So Cosby's lawyers want the state parole board to release the non-violent elderly inmates, including Cosby, to a house arrest for the remainder of their sentences. So far, no decision has been made as of yet. And right here is prisons and jails around the country are becoming infested with COVID-19 cases, and it's only a matter of time before Mr. Cosby's prison likely falls victim to the virus, Wyatt said in a statement. So Avanti, who is 49 years of age and ex-lawyer to the adult film actress Stormy Daniels, who has accused Trump of sexual misconduct, wants out of the federal jail in New York. Okay, and so I believe that this is the man right here. He's pictured here. And so, and then you have another person that's also pictured here who is Michael Cohen. All of these people want out. And so, who has accused Trump of sexual misconduct, wants out of federal jail in New York City, where he is awaiting sentence in June for his February conviction on charges of trying to extort $25 million in sportswear giant Nike. Okay. Okay, so our Avenatti's lawyer, H. Dean Stewart, argued for temporary release with electronic monitoring until the pandemic's over, citing Avenatti's bout of pneumonia 6 months ago is a sick cellmate, and the jail's conditions are filthy. Of course, are filthy jail conditions. And so that's what their case is. Mr. Avenatti is more at risk than most As he has had pneumonia late last year, Stewart argued in court documents a Metropolitan Correctional Center, where he is being held, has its first COVID-19 case, and the potential for true disaster and wholesale death from the virus is enormous. And so here is Michael Cohen, who was President Donald Trump's long-term personal attorney, is calling the federal authorities to let nonviolent offenders complete their prison sentence in home confinement to reduce their risk of contracting the COVID-19. So U.S. District Court Judge James Salina in California declined to immediately release Avenatti, and a final decision is pending. Avenatti faces scheduled criminal trials in New York next month and in Los Angeles in May, although those may be delayed due to the coronavirus crises. Donald Trump's ex-personal lawyer, Cohen, who is 53 years of age, who pled guilty to federal charges including campaign finance fraud and lying to Congress, was denied his bid for early release from a 3-year prison sentence last week after he cited the COVID-19 fears. So U.S. District Judge William Pauley III said it seemed Cohen's request for release to home confinement appears to be just another effort to inject himself into the news cycle. And so this is Michael Cohen tweeting right here that confirmed inmate test positive for coronavirus at FCI, which is Otisville Satellite Camp. It's time for the federal government to act responsibly. So last week on Twitter, Cohen, 53 years of age, who is in prison at Otisville, New York, posted an online petition from inmates calling on federal authorities to let nonviolent offenders complete their sentence in home confinement to reduce their risk of contracting the virus. On Tuesday, he tweeted that an inmate had tested positive. It's time for the federal government to act responsibly. So right here is picture Daniel Hernandez, who is better known as Tekashi 6ix9ine, has just a few months left on his prison sentence. So he's almost was getting ready to get out, but he won't be spending it at home. So this is out of the contributing the Associated Press. The article originally appeared on USA Today. And so it talks about Tekashi 6ix9ine's release from prison and all of the other famous people who feel that their lives are threatened because of COVID-19, who want to be also released from prison because of health risks. What are your thoughts and feedback on this? Very interesting and very valid reasons. Some of the reasons that some people have, like having prior illnesses or either pre-existing illnesses, or maybe they didn't have that much time left, and so they figured that it was safer to let them out and do the rest of their time on house arrest. Having said that, thanks for listening.